We're going to look at the concept of mitzvah aseh shazman grama, a time-bound mitzvah, certainly related to that of Rosh Hashanah. Time-bound mitzvah is a mitzvah that is based on time. So there are two mitzvahs based on time that women are obligated in. The rest of the mitzvahs that are time-bound, women are not obligated in. So, of course, before we get to which those riddled mitzvahs are, which of those two mitzvahs that are part of the riddle that they are obligated in, first understand the concept of a time-bound mitzvah, and then relate it over to the blowing of the shofar. So a woman is not obligated in time-bound mitzvahs. That is something that is only given over to men. Some of the suggestions are that men need a lot more structure and stricture in order to be able to fulfill their mission within this world, whereas a woman's role is going to be on a much more spiritual basis. They themselves come into this world more mitukan, more already rectified, if you will. They're already fixed, which is another reason why the women would not necessarily have a bris milah, circumcision, while men do require that. So they have totally different roles that exist. One of the concepts being that of mitzvah seisha zman grama, that a man is obligated in all mitzvos, and a woman is only obligated in all negative mitzvos, which means a negative precept that you're not allowed to do something, and they're not technically obligated in time-bound mitzvahs. When we say they're not obligated, the question is, can they fulfill it? Are they able to fulfill it? So we would say, of course, you can fulfill a time-bound mitzvah. However, according to Sephardim, you would not actually make a blessing on a time-bound mitzvah. And for Ashkenazim, we would make a blessing on a time-bound mitzvah, but it's not to the same caliber as someone who is mitzvah v'osa, someone who is actually obligated. In that case, if they are obligated, they are on a higher level of fulfillment because of the fact that they are obligated in the mitzvah. So which are the two mitzvahs that are time-bound and yet women are obligated on those two time-bound ones? So Bruce mentioned one, and that is Shabbos. Right? What does that mean, Shabbos? Shabbos, it means that even though Shabbos is clearly time-bound, it's only once a week, it's not all the time, yet still women are obligated in making kiddush, in lighting candles, and all the laws associated with Shabbos. And having oneg, having enjoyment on Shabbos, women are obligated in that. Even though it's time-bound, but the answer is, we learn it from the concept that since the verse talks about the negative precepts and the positive precepts, the negative laws and the positive laws both in the same sentence, so just like women are obligated in those things which you can't do, so too they're obligated in those things which you should do as well. Therefore Shabbos becomes one of those halachos that women are obligated to the same degree as that of men. So anytime you're going to have a negative precept with a positive, that is going to put the obligation, because she's obligated in this one, and the same verse says this, therefore she's obligated in both. Similarly, the other halach that we have is that of Pesach as well. Since a woman is obligated to not eat chametz, so too, and in the same verse, they have to eat matzah. Therefore, all the laws associated with Pesach and Passover, they're obligated to do, both in the positive and the negative. Those are the two particular mitzvahs we have, time-bound, that women are obligated in. What about shofar? So shofar is considered time-bound. You have to see that shofar is a time-bound mitzvah. Therefore, the Shulchan Aruch says a woman is not obligated in hearing shofar because it's a time-bound mitzvah. Yet the Maharil, later commentary, explains that although women are absolved from hearing shofar because of the fact that it's a time-bound mitzvah, mitzvahs aseh shazman grama, still women have brought themselves to a level of chiyuv. Meaning collectively, women have taken upon themselves that, you know what we do? We go hear shofar. It's not to the same degree as a man's obligation is, but they have taken it upon themselves that we go hear shofar. So it says, Ho'il, Shemachayv and Asasman, since they obligated themselves to hear shofar, so then therefore they must do whatever they need to do in order to be able to do it. So therefore, the Maharil, again, Maharil, I think it's 16 or 1700s, writes, they therefore have to be alacritous. They have to push themselves to do whatever they need to do, whether it's clothing, whether it's children and like, to make sure that they're able to come to shul in order to be able to hear the shofar. Now again, since they're not purely obligated, if they're not able to come to shul, they can hear it after shul, they can hear it at other times, but women will do their best to actually hear shofar, and someone would blow shofar for a woman, even though it's a time-bound mitzvah. You know, you're not chasing after women to go and make them shake a lulav. You're not chasing after them to do other mitzvahs, but when it comes to shofar, since they took it upon themselves as an obligation, therefore, we would actually do our best to make sure that they're able to hear shofar as well. The question is, since they've now brought themselves into a level of chiyuv, of an obligation, do they fall under the same category of men? If they were to fall in the same category of men, for men, you're not allowed to eat before you actually go hear shofar. What about women? Women, are they obligated to make sure that they don't eat anything before shofar? It's a mitzvah, and therefore, in that case, we'll learn another time about men's obligation in shofar prohibits them from actually eating before shofar, except in certain circumstances where they're going to be very weak, where a number of different things are going to happen. So there's a dispute amongst the poskim about this. Ultimately, Shmuel Kamenetsky presents that nowadays, even though they took it upon themselves an obligation to be able to hear shofar, we don't find that it's the same level, the same degree. And since it's not the same degree, if they need to, they would be able to actually eat. If they wanted to hear shofar and they were coming to shul, they potentially would be allowed to eat. Again, for men, you have a dispute because in different shuls, sometimes they have shofar sometimes they have kiddush right before blowing of shofar. How is that possible, right? How is it possible to do that if you're not supposed to do it? So that is a major issue. Technically, you shouldn't be eating before your shofar. But some people are weak, some people are tired. Okay? There's a whole question about that. One year we tried that. It didn't go so well because Kiddush took like an inordinate amount of time, because once you leave shul, nobody wants to go back to shul. Right? Can you imagine this? If they had Kiddush before Musaf every Shabbos, you'd have nobody left back for Musaf. So in this shul, it didn't work out. We tried it that year. But ultimately, we have the concept over here, even though there are those that would say it's a chova, it's an obligation for them, they should not eat in the same way. Yet, at the end of the day, there's leniencies for them, and they would be able to eat before actually hearing shofar. So again, it's not a pure bona fide obligation. It is a time-bound mitzvah that they took an extra stringency upon themselves to make themselves obligated in hearing shofar.